Hello everyone. Hi, today I'll be talking about a project that I'm involved in called the Gostwyck grinding groups. I acknowledge the traditional owners of the land, the Anaiwan people, and I pay my respects to the elders past and present. I also acknowledge the Gumbanga, Dungari and Kamilaroi people who share the caring of this country on which this presentation takes place. Hello, my name is Colin Ahoy. I'm a descendant of the Anaiwan and Biripi people. My role in my community is a cultural sites officer. I'm interested in culture and heritage. This role gives me the opportunity to rediscover the evidence of my ancestors in this region. Like other young Aboriginal males, I struggled in my early years trying to understand my identity. However, I completed the tracks program in mid-2019 and have since enrolled in a Bachelor of Arts majoring in Archaeology. My work as a sites officer brought me into contact with the Archaeology department here at UNE, and this is where my journey started. In 2018, a group of site officers from the Armidale community and senior archaeologist Ryan Desick from EMM Consulting recorded an axe grinding groove site while undertaking an archaeological survey on behalf of UPC Renewables, the developer of a proposed New England solar farm east of Uralla. Some of the photos that you will see today are taken by Ryan Desick, Roger Meir and Emma Watt. Two of the investigating team, Steve Ahoy and myself, approached Adjunct Associate Professor Wendy Beck at the University of New England with the proposal that the site required further investigation. Supported by a $50,000 New South Wales Government Protecting Our Places program grant, which was given to Anaiwan Aboriginal Corporation and administered by the University of New England to enable a small team, UNE team and members from the local Aboriginal community to minutely examine the debris around the site to establish what artefacts lie there and what light they can shed on Aboriginal history in the area. There were 50 applicants for the grant and we were one of 10 successful applicants around the state. The grant is funded for 3 years. The research team consists of archaeologists Wendy Beck, John Appleton, myself, Emma Watt and Roger Meir from the Office of Environment and Heritage. The research team invited 4 Anaiwan community elders to form an elders reference group, those 4 being Steve Witters, my father Colin Ahoy Senior, Les Townsend and Cheryl Kitchener. Their role is to advise the research team and assist us to make sure that the cultural aspects and the scientific investigations are balanced. They provide us with feedback and we also produce a regular newsletter for the community. It's really important with projects that community consultation takes place and elders from the community are involved from the beginning to the end. There are 2 stages to our project, Stage 1 planning and Stage 2 implementation. A lot of hours have gone into Stage 1 planning, which involved attending 2 mandatory sessions with the New South Wales Environmental Trust. I had to prepare a budget and learn project management skills in order to run a successful project. Keep in mind that it's a 3-year grant, so we have to work to a specific time frame in each of these stages. Stage 2 of the project is made up of 3 parts. Record the site in detail, produce a management plan for future preservation, and to find out how old the site is and when it was last used. The site is located in private property near Gostwyck in a grazed paddock. It is made up of a silkreed outcrop with a range of different artefacts scattered around it. This site shows us that a lot of people were continuing to use this site over long periods of time. We know that there are 578 individual recorded grinding grooves in the Armidale region and 250 of these are located at the Gostwyck site. Silkreed was the material used for the manufacture of blades and knives, whereas a more sturdy rock such as basalt was used for axes. The silkreed appears in the New England at around an altitude of 1,030 metres. Aboriginal sites are usually found around these outcrops. At this stage, we've recorded a detailed description of 43 artefacts found in a 10-degree sample sector on the downslope of the site. The artefacts were manufactured from a variety of different materials such as silkreed, chert, crystal quartz and mudstone. Of these, only silkcrete is locally available material. Exactly what this site was used for is unknown. However, there are a lot of possibilities. Our research will hopefully allow us to discover more. The grinding grooves are linked to the manufacture of stone axes, which were used as a traditional tool. To sharpen and maintain the stone tool, they are ground on either sandstone, granite, or in the New England district on silkcrete. Each individual groove represents the lifespan of the manufacture of a single axe. No single groove was used more than one axe. For instance, if one of our tableland axes was traded with a neighbouring tribe, the new owner would have to start a new groove to maintain that axe. When we first discovered this particular spot, we noticed a change of colour around the rock here, which was mostly covered over by dirt and animal dung. We had to stop from investigating further because we noticed that the grooves continued underneath the dirt. It is illegal to search for subsurface materials on a declared Indigenous archaeological site under the National Parks and Wildlife Act 1974. We had to file for a permit to continue our investigation, assisted by Wendy Beck and John Appleton, to acquire the permit excavations. This picture shows us where the majority of the grinding grooves were located in this one spot. We have recorded 100 grooves. You can see both horizontal and vertical grooves of different lengths. The square you can see shows where we intend to excavate to see what other artefacts lie below the surface and to find any carbon material. The carbon will allow us to hopefully date the length of time Aboriginal people were using this site in the area. These grinding grooves were found on the other side of the outcrop. We have to spend at least 6 weeks at the site and excavate around the base of the whole outcrop. The hammerstone here on the right hand side was found on a ledge tucked away as shown by the arrow. It is really interesting to consider the last person to put it here because perhaps he thought he was coming back to use it again. Again, the possibilities are endless. What might have happened to this person? This is a close-up of the ledge where the hammerstone was found, just down in this area. These are some of the artefacts found around these grinding grooves. We can tell that these examples above are part of the material removed in the making of an axe, a process called knapping. This white silkcrete here, this one, was deliberately heat treated. This made it easier to fracture, to produce finer and sharper products. The red stone here is what it looks like after it has been heat treated, and the bottom photo shows you the finer and sharper artefacts. Got mixed up, top one I meant. All of these were found at the Gostwyck site, and we know that the white silkcrete is very similar to other materials sourced from a quarry on Long Swamp Road. The Gostwyck site also includes scarred trees. Scarred trees are formed when a piece of bark is removed from the tree, leaving a scar. These scars come in a range of shapes and sizes, depending upon the age of the tree and the intended use of the piece of bark. The piece removed from the tree was used for a variety of things, including coolamans, shields, burials, shelters, and to form living signposts on the living tree. There are a number of scarred trees within the project area, such as the ones in the picture. What is interesting about these examples are the fact that they have been used by both the original inhabitants of New England and the early farmers. The example on the right shows how the farmer intended to use this tree as a fence strainer post, but for some reason decided to leave it alone. We could perhaps imagine that he, realising it was a scar tree, the farmer chose to leave it. This map was created by Ryan Desick for an environmental impact statement and shows the amount of important sites found so far at the site of the proposed solar farm. The dark blue line shows Salisbury Waters, which was a life source for the local people. As you can see from all the waterways, the sites are occurring in and around water sources. The Gostwyck Grinding Groove site is found here where the arrow is pointing, just around in there. This is an example of how we use drone technology, called photogrammetry, to measure the whole site and the surrounding landscape. This is building up a 3D image which we will use for future preservation purposes, but because we can monitor the site in detail over long periods of time. When the solar farm is built, it will surround this site, so it's important that we can keep an eye on any damage. Photogrammetry also allows us to showcase Aboriginal culture and its preservation into the mainstream for use in education. Roger and myself are going out getting different sections done around the grinding grooves. This is just another example of a 3D image using the photogrammetry. This photo shows how the drone took the photos. We took photos of up to 3 different heights. The first height at 30 metres, the second at 50 metres, and the third at 100. As this is only the beginning of what we are trying to do, as we would like to get photos of 120 metres and then put them all together. There are several issues facing the Gostwyck grinding grooves. These issues include weed management, grazing of animals, and human interference. This picture shows a site at Arting, which is a good example of the difficulties faced in appropriately managing any site. On the left we have grinding grooves which have been grazed. When animals are allowed over the site, the risk of damage is great. Due to them trampling on artefacts, and their manure is highly acidic and causes damage. This raises the question whether these sites should be fenced off, or as you can see on the right hand side of the photo, the problem here is we have a weed management problem and issues around fence maintenance. These are questions we are yet to answer. In December this year, I am going to the AAA conference on the Gold Coast with Wendy and Roger Meir at the AAA. The AAA is the Australian Archaeological Association. We are going for 3 main reasons. The first is to present a paper on the work we have been doing in testing the use of drones and photogrammetry to record grinding grooves and other surface sites. This is a relatively groundbreaking thing, as most drone photogrammetry has focused on monuments and objects, most but not all. The second reason we are going is to network. It simply means to meet other people with the same interest in the discipline. And the third thing is to see what other archaeologists are doing around Australia and the world by listening to their presentation. At the start of 2020, we'll be undertaking an archaeological excavation at the Gostwyck site, which will run for approximately 6 weeks, although we still have 2 more years of research. This is very exciting because there is so much more to discover at this site. Finally, I'm going to continue my study in a Bachelor of Arts here at UNE, and I would like to thank and acknowledge the Elders Advisory Group, Wendy Beck, John Appleton, Ryan Desick, Roger Meir, the Uralla Aboriginal Centre, and the University of New England. That's him. Thanks.